Oh, how are you?
Awesome. Okay, people are going to continue to come in. So let's get things started. So there's a lot of people new to the call. This is the top 200 masterclass for MCA leaders, operational leaders, financial leaders of market centers. So welcome. Give you a little background as to what the top 200 masterclass is. My coaches are going to laugh because I put this together. So I just wung it just for everybody who's new. The purpose of the top 200 masterclass was to create an environment of like-minded individuals that want to be inspired and hear the perspectives and experiences of others that may be different from your own. We want to take the information and either double down on it or create a path that isn't already there. This type of thinking is not only healthy for you, but it's healthy for the people around you that you serve. And it's great for your personal as well as your professional career. I hope you can provide, we can provide enough inspiration for you to want to do that. And that is the environment we're trying to create here. Okay. So with that said, we play all in here. So everyone on camera, cameras on. Okay. Microphones off unless you want to speak, raise your hands. We play all in and we expect you to respect each other as well as our guests, which we are so honored to have. Okay. So with all of that now said, I'm going to introduce today's guest. Okay, so he's very interesting, has a very diverse background in his experience, and he's held many titles and positions inside and outside of Keller Williams, although he doesn't like titles. So we're going to describe adjectives to describe him today. Okay. So he's kind, smart, motivated, competitive, loyal, dedicated. He laughs at Monica Reynolds' jokes, so we know he has a sense of humor. What I know about him is that he cares very deeply about everything that he puts his hands on and he gets involved with. Currently, he is the COO of Keller Williams. Please welcome Sajag Patel.
Thanks, Maria.
You're welcome. Say hi, everybody.
Who paid you to say all that?
I was in a really good mood. All right. So you get the gist of what we do here and the environment we're trying to provide for everyone, and we do provide for everyone. So let's just start with you. So this is about you. We want you to tell everybody like who you are, and we were inspired to have you as a guest based on being around you in the MAPS world, being around you in the Keller Williams world, and then hearing about what you've done in your previous life before Keller Williams and what you're doing while you're here, both personally and professionally. So give us a little background about who Sajag is.
Sure. So I'm an agent and I'm a coach, and I'll always be an agent and a coach. So that's me in a nutshell.
All right. So you're going to make me work today. Got it. Okay. So what did Sajag do before coming to Keller Williams?
Prior to coming to Keller Williams, straight out of college, I was a software engineer. I worked for a startup company for 4 years before I got burnout, and then decided to go into business with my father and got into the hospitality industry. I'm still in the hospitality industry today. Still have a hotel back in Ohio. And we took a bank-owned property and we turned it, we flipped it. I doubled the revenues in 3 years, and then got into the coffee shop business. Got into a franchise with a coffee shop that was fairly brand new, and the franchise itself went belly up, which caused me to shut my doors down too. And so I went and bought another hotel, turned it, flipped it, and then in the midst of that was 08, 09. Like the worst time to get into any sort of business. And so I dove right into real estate and started it at a small brokerage prior to coming to Keller Williams. Was there for 6 months, didn't do any transactions. Walked in the day before Thanksgiving into the market center that I'm still a part of today. And the interim MCA was there. She was pregnant, and I walked in and I said, I want to transfer my license. That's how my journey at Keller Williams started. I wasn't recruited. I literally walked in because I drove by the office every day. And I just decided the day before Thanksgiving, I was going to stop in and transfer my license.
How long has your family always been in the hospitality industry?
Yeah, since my parents migrated here, they've always been in the hospitality industry.
That is so cool. How did that background help prepare you for real estate?
It's business, right? So
Yep.
You're running a business. They owned a small motel in central Pennsylvania. So I mean, we did everything. There wasn't a thing that we didn't do. We didn't have any employees when we first got started because obviously my parents came with nothing. And we started, I've done everything from cleaning rooms to doing front desk to doing laundry. And I even did that even after my college career. And when we bought our hotel and I turned it and flipped it, I was hands-on. I'm not someone who sits behind a desk. I get in and I get dirty with my people.
That's awesome. I had a similar background, but my family did not turn it into a hotel chain. They decided the hotels were not for them. But then we did turn it into a catering business. So I totally get what you're saying. You put your hands into everything, and that speaks volumes too. I see who you are today. And you don't take anything at face value. You dig in and you understand why. You know, when somebody's coming to you for help or trying to understand, you ask really awesome questions because you've been there, you understand. All right, so real estate. In Keller Williams, when you went to the market center and you met with the MCA, you threw her off guard. I watched your interview with with the head of CISU. I was cracking up. So she asked you a question. What was the question? Do you remember about who did you talk to?
Yeah, I remember exactly who I talked to because she's still an agent in that market center right now. So
That's awesome. But she asked you, who were you talking to? Right?
There was yeah. The only person that I was talking to during that time was a gal that I went to class with, and she joined a Keller Williams in another market center. But I was just watching her experience. She didn't actually communicate with me. I didn't communicate with her, but I was just watching her experience. And I said, okay, this might be a place I might be interested in. And knowing that I'm a learning-based person and I need to know everything about everything before I actually go in and serve a client. So knowing that Keller Williams had KWU, that's what got me to come over to Keller Williams.
Right. So you jumped into everything we had to provide, right? All the learning, all the classes, things like that. So that's what you did. For the operational financial leaders on the call, how does your experience compare to what you see us doing in the industry today? And what do you think that we should be connecting to at a high level when somebody does come in like that? What do you think we could be doing at a higher level, or what do you think we do well, and where do you think we're missing the mark?
I think the biggest opportunity is helping people understand where they fit in, right? So when I came over, I didn't know anything about the brokerage. All I know is I was handed the MREA. I read the MREA. Most people don't read the MREA. And I didn't just read it for the sake of reading it. I read it multiple times throughout the first couple of years. But I also didn't just let it sit there. I started teaching it. I started doing the MREA book club online with agents across the country. And that came because of what I learned in 08, 09 is, the market as it was shifting, short sales were a big thing that no one liked. And I was a brand new agent. I didn't have a database because I just moved to Cleveland. I was only there for 4 or 5 years before I got into real estate. So I really didn't know anyone. I didn't have a sphere, and I had to figure out how to get started in business. And if you guys remember what Craigslist was, my entire business started with Craigslist. I started posting ads of foreclosures on Craigslist. And then I went and got certified in the CDPE by Alex Sharfin. And I went and learned how to do short sales. And without doing a single short sale, a transaction, I went and started teaching it in market centers.
Wow.
And from that, I started getting referrals from agents who didn't understand the short sale process. And I built my whole business on Craigslist and short sales.
You found a niche.
One of the investors that I picked up off of Craigslist has bought in 39 homes. He actually just went under contract on his 40th home with my team last night. And this was back from 2009. I not only sold him all those homes, I've sold his mom several homes, I've sold his brother several homes, and I've done that with multiple people that I found off of Craigslist. He's got a net worth over $10 million, all through real estate investments that started on a journey with me. He's 1 year younger than me.
That's amazing. So you found an opportunity for yourself and you created an opportunity for someone else. He was starting out the same time you were, pretty much, with investing?
He had just started. But he had his own personal home and he bought his first investment property with me.
So going back to what worked well for you, you said the MREA, you actually read it, right? You started the book club and you got connected inside the market center. So that's something that I think a lot of people on here resonate with. What were the agents around you doing at the time? Were they connecting to what you were doing? Did they think you were like an anomaly, or were they inspired and, got on the bandwagon to teach?
There are two things here. Let me break down the first is, so, we've always heard Gary talk about this as the fastest way to learn something is go teach it. Yet very few of us actually go do it because it's really uncomfortable. And trust me, I am not a public speaking person. I don't like the stage. And Jenny can tell you this. I mean, Maria can tell you this. I absolutely am terrified of speaking in front of people. I've gotten used to it now, but it's not my thing. And yet I still did it because I knew I had a family to feed and I was going to do whatever it took to make sure that I took care of them. So the fastest way to actually go learn something is go teach it. And when you teach it, you actually understand it at the deepest level. No different than, I'm sure, when you guys are doing anything with financials, when you guys go teach it, you know it better than anyone else in that room. Am I right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the first thing. The second part of your question was what, Maria? Sorry.
So how did the other agents how did they react? Did they come along for the ride? Did they start getting involved in teaching things in the market center? Did they engage?
Yeah, I mean, I had a small group that I connected with, but the majority of the people that I connected with were online in Facebook.
Mm.
Several of the people that I ran the book club with, we did it not just once, we did it repeatedly every year, and we did it for 3 to 4 years. One of those people has a pretty high up position at another broker right now. Right. So, what I always tell people is, you have to be very careful of who you surround yourself with. And I'll share this with you guys, because I shared this with Gary over the weekend, and he loved it. And I'll share this with you because it's a little bit about leadership. And I apologize, Maria, I'm going to take you off of.
Oh no, I'm all for that. Go for it.
I want to share this with you guys because it was really impactful. And it really hit home. Sorry, give me 1 second.
There's a lot in there in that conversation, right?
But it's specifically around leadership and how you look at leadership. So what I sent to him is this. Sorry, we text a lot.
That's what I figured.
So it's the 6 leadership principles to learn from an eagle. The very first one is eagles fly alone at high altitudes. They don't fly with sparrows, ravens, or other small birds, meaning they stay away from narrow-minded people, those that bring you down. Eagles fly with eagles. Keep good company. So that's the first lesson. The second lesson is eagles have accurate vision. They have the ability to focus on something as far as 5 kilometers away. No matter the obstacles, the eagle will not move his focus from the prey until he grabs it. Meaning they have a vision and remain focused no matter the obstacles, and you will succeed. The third one was eagles don't eat dead things. They feed only on fresh prey. Do not rely on your past successes. Keep looking for new frontiers to conquer. Leave your past where it belongs, in the past.
That's awesome.
Fourth thing is eagles love the storm. When clouds gather, the eagle gets excited. The eagle uses a storm's wind to lift itself higher. Once it finds the wind of the storm, the eagles use the raging storm to lift itself above the clouds. This gives the eagle an opportunity to glide and rest its wing. In the meantime, all the other birds hide in the branches and leaves of the tree. Meaning, face your challenges head on, knowing that these will make you emerge stronger and better than you were. We can use the storm of life to rise to greater heights. Achievers are not afraid to rise to greater heights. Achievers are not afraid of challenges, rather they relish them and use them for profitability. And then the next one, eagles prepare for training. They remove the feathers and soft grass in the nest so that the young ones get uncomfortable in preparation for flight, and eventually flies when it comes unbearable to the nest. So leave your comfort zone. There's no growth there. That's the lesson. And then the last one is when eagles grow old, his feathers become weak and cannot take him as fast and as high as it should. This makes him weak and could make him die. So he retires to a place far away in the mountains. While there, he plucks out the weak feathers on his body and breaks his beak and claws against the rocks until he's completely bare, a very bloody and painful process. Then he stays in the hiding place until he's grown new feathers, new beak, and claws, and then comes out flying higher than before. The meaning of that is when we occasionally need to shut off the old habit, no matter how difficult, things that burden us or add no value to our lives should be let go of.
Wow.
So if you just think about those 6 lessons on leadership, it applies to us every single day. And it's a matter of, do we approach our life on a daily basis with those things in mind?
That's a lot to digest and reflect on. There's a lot in that I heard, that I was reflecting on as you were speaking, and I'm just like, so where do you start, right? You have to know who you are. You have to know what you want. You have to know what you believe in, what your standards are. You have to know where you're headed, right? And I remember just as passionately you spoke in front of a classroom. I was the first initial MAPS models course, and it was the first time I met you, and you and Monica stood in front of the room, Actually, you were off to the side of the room and you were making a point, like you needed to make this point when we were talking and going through mission statement. And you were very passionate about everyone understanding what their mission statement was in life. Why is that so important to you? And where did that take you? And how, well, before, where did you take you? How did you get there?
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing is you have to know why we're doing it, right? What gets you up out of bed? Why are you doing it? What's the bigger purpose? Because here's the thing. People say kids, family, all of that's true for everyone, right? Some yes, some no. Some people it's money, whatever it is, that's all great. But when things get hard, do you quit? Do you want to give up? Are you willing to just leave it? Or is it big enough of a purpose that you say, no matter what, I'm not going to stop and I'm going to keep going? You're willing to give it your all until you succeed or until you get to the destination. Because what happens is most people, they struggle with a purpose because they overcomplicate it. Or they struggle with it because they're making it about themselves. The minute you don't make it about yourselves, it gives it a whole new meaning. Because when you're no longer waking up for you, but you're waking up for someone else, are you giving up?
So at that time, I mean, I don't want to say what your actual mission was because I don't know what it was verbatim at the time, but what was your mission then?
Well, it's still my mission today. You know, everything that I do, it's to go create educational opportunities for kids. You know, I think some of you may have heard, but you know, my vision and the goal is that, and it's not just a goal, it's a commitment, is in 10 years, I'm going to have impacted 100,000 kids by creating educational opportunities for them.
Was your goal always that big or did you adjust it?
It was adjusted, right? We always hear like we overestimate what we can accomplish in 1 year, underestimate what we can accomplish in 5. And of course, that came true. You know, having great coaches and mentors in my life, I was able to get to the initial goal in little less than 4 years. And I had to go redo my goal. And that goal was redone in June of 2021.
So who helped you get there? And you were talking about you had great coaches and mentors in your life to help you think bigger. You know, we go through that process in Keller Williams. We, as leaders, we go through that process, and it's still a process for some of us. It's still a process for some people to wrap their head around a 411, right? But what you said is so important. When it's bigger than you and it's for someone else or something bigger than yourself, it changes the whole dynamic. So you were already there to an extent, and yet who are the people that around you that saw more, that you could do more?
Yeah, I'm going to take you back a little because you know, you got to find the root of where it started, right? Like,
Yep.
there's people that deserve the credit prior to when it actually happened, right? So it was my one of my very first MAPS coaches at that time, which was Abe Shreve. So it started with Abe, and then it went into the bold room when I was with my bold coach, and I missed my MAPS coaching call. And when I missed it, Abe challenged me. And he said, well, since you missed it, here's what you're going to do. And this was at a moment in my life when I didn't have the ability or the means to actually go do this. So to give you context, he's like, since you missed it, here's what you're going to do. You're going to commit to doing a bold 100 over the next 7 weeks. And this was in January. And he's like, And if you miss a week, you're going to give $5,000 to KW Cares. And literally he had me write a $5,000. It was actually a KW Kids camp because he knew I was passionate about educating kids. So he had me write the check, walk to the front of the room, and go give it to the bowl coach. And the instructions were that if I missed any week where I didn't hit the bold 100, that the coach had the ability to go cash it in. I didn't have 5,000 in my bank, and yet I wrote it. And I knew that there was no way in heck I was going to let them even try to cash it in, because then I'd have mud on my face because it was going to bounce. And so I went all in. I did it. I came out of that 7 weeks with 250,000 in pending and closed. And I'd never done that type of business in my life. That was the changing moment. I donated that 5,000, told him to go ahead and cash it in because I had the money in the bank. It was a year later when Abe said, you need to become a MAPS coach. I told Abe that he was nuts. I said, what makes you think I have what it takes to be a coach? He spent the next 3 coaching calls convincing me that I needed to do it. So finally, just to please him, I actually filled out the application, sent it in, and of course, went through the process, became a MAPS coach. And he knew that I'm one of those people, once I commit, like I'm all in, I'm not going to quit or let anyone down. So of course I went all in, became a MAPS coach. 30 days in, I had 30 clients. And Jenny, you can probably laugh at this because back then that's what it was like, right?
Wow.
There was coaches, you got in and boom, you got loaded. So I was running a big business, became a MAPS coach, had 30 clients out of the gate, and I went all in. Within a year, I was, that's when my journey with my head coach, Joe Bogar, started. And he then got me into a small mastermind group, just through conversations he was having about the way I thought with Tony DeCello. And so I was in this small cadre group of 5 coaches. And that's where the think big really came in. That's where that whole journey started. So a year and a half of mentorship with Tony, and this small group of coaches who we still meet with periodically today, we still talk to almost monthly right now, was the pivotal point of, how do you think bigger than the life that you live every single day? So I found my tribe.
The who?
The who?
The who? The who you surround yourself with matters. Means so much more than people realize until they actually start the process of understanding what they want and how the people around them are responding to that, right? If they're in alignment with it, right? It's the same thing with everybody. It's whether it's people or opportunities, you're either in complete alignment with it or it's a complete distraction from where you're going.
Yeah.
Okay. So, so you're thinking bigger. You're a MAPS coach. You're an agent of a team still at this point, right? And you're changing more lives than you probably realize you set out to do. And in the process, because you're all focused on what your goal was, right? Was that a goal at this point?
Yeah, I mean, I knew where I wanted to go, but here's the lesson that I learned in that little group is we get so caught up in the environment that we live in, and we don't go create our own environment that actually serves us. And we become a product of it. So how do you actually go change the environment that you are in day to day and go create the environment that you want to be in, that you thrive in? that was something that I wasn't taught. That wasn't something that, I was pushed to go do. It just happened. Had I known that earlier in life, because they don't teach you this stuff in college.
No.
I known about going and creating my own environment. There's moments in my life when I look back and say, would I have done something differently? Would I have approached it differently? And that's the gift that I try to create for people right now is go create your tribe. Don't surround yourself with people that are your friends, because they're not going to have that fierce conversation with you when you need to hear it. They're not going to, what I call give you the gut punch when you need it. They're not going to give you the reality check when you need it. They're going to tell you what you want to hear. But when you actually go create your tribe, you're going to hear everything you didn't want to hear if it's the right people. And what I mean by that is you're all in it for the same reason. It's helping each other get to a level that you've never gotten to before because you challenge each other.
As you're saying that, I was thinking sometimes we think in a leadership team that we're set. We don't have any control over that. And I love the ability to have a different mindset around that, because it's not about us, it's about our agents. And at the end of the day, if we don't create the environment where they can flourish and they can be greater, then they're going to leave, right? So we have to get it right. We have to create the tribe that is going to raise the lid, think bigger, do great things together, and set the example for them. So thank you for putting it in that way, because I think a lot of people on this call may be thinking to themselves, even in the top 200, but I don't have a choice beyond, the walls that are my leadership team. You actually do. You have a voice. You have a voice on how we can make things better, how we can grow, who we need to be, and to help everybody like you did, which is, just as an example, starting an MRA book club. You know what I mean? Just taking one step forward to what is the environment that will create a place where the agents never want to leave because they're flourishing and they love who they're with.
Can I give you a simple thought for everyone to think about?
Please.
So we have churn in our business, right? We have people that come and go. We have agents that come and go on a daily basis, right? I mean, no secret, we bring on 65,000 agents. We lose 60,000 agents a year, roughly, right? But why do we lose them? Why do we lose them? We lose them because the majority of the time it's because they're not producing. Yeah, someone just said it right there. They're not making money. Okay, well, how do you activate them? Because that's all it is. It's an awareness. So if I asked any of you, how many millionaires do you have in your market center? Could you answer it? Could you give me a definite answer of how many agents in your market centers are millionaires? Net worth millionaires. Because I bet you it's more than you think. Here's the challenge. We haven't made them aware of it. They have equity in their homes. They don't know. They don't have a great relationship with money. Well, I think I'm on a call with a bunch of MCAs who understand money and financials and assets and liabilities. Why aren't we teaching that? Start talking about net worth. Start creating little communities where people are working together to go increase wealth. Wealth building used to be a really big thing in our company, and we got away from it. for anyone that's been here back when they used to have wealth building Wednesdays, you know that that's what they used to do. And a big portion of that was profit share. It's a simple conversation to have, but just helping people understand how to build wealth, how to get rid of debt, how to pay it off. None of our competitors are doing it, because I don't know how much they can give you in rev share or whatever other stocks they want to give you, because we all know our agents have really great habits around money, and 99% of them have spent it before they even earned a damn dollar. That if the relationship with money, we wouldn't have the churn.
I thank you, because I'm passionate about teaching agent financials, and all my clients know that I'm making them more confident and passionate about teaching agent financials. Like you said, you want to get better at something, you just got to do it. There's a quote, I'm going to botch it, in The Psychology of Money, that says, millions of, professionals get together in a room and try to figure out how to increase a portfolio at 0.1%, when there's like 2 to 3 to 4 to 5% of lifestyle bloat in their budgets. That if we just can expose it to them, make them aware of it, they can help themselves. It's not like they just have to know where to start. They just have to be aware of it. And part of all of that, we don't realize the power in this, on this call, and in this culture of people. They have that power to help people just do that, so that they can go do things that they don't know that they could even done before. Just starting, it all starts with like just one class, one awareness, and then taking the next step after that, and next step after that. So speaking of doing things that maybe you never thought you were going to do, or doing things that you made a commitment to. When you decided to do 100 doors, tell that story to these people, because sometimes they need to reference point of inspiration to help their agents think beyond themselves, because they know, we all know, it's human. People are gonna, if they find a purpose outside of themselves, bigger than themselves, that means something to them, that they connect to, they're gonna nail it. They're gonna have a drive and an inspiration towards it. So can you share that with everyone?
Yeah, it was, I think it was that far, a mega camp back in 2017, 18, when, I had heard Gary say what I've already said, which is you can be anywhere you want to be in 5 years. But we have a tendency to overestimate what we're going to accomplish in 1 and underestimate what we do in 5. So I went and made a plan, and it was all around, how many doors do I need to get to in order to make an impact on kids? How do I go create enough passive income where I can start making an impact? And it was at that point, I wanted to be able to go on mission trips. How do I go create enough revenue such that when I have it, it takes care of my family, and I could go on mission trips and go give back. So that's where the plan of 100 doors came about, which I hit in August of last year. So in a period of 3.5 years, I literally went from 5 single family homes to having 104 doors. And it's nothing more than a math game. It truly is nothing more than math. Is when you understand, the way the tax code is written. So read Tax Free Wealth by Tom Wheelwright. When you understand how tax code is written, and you understand the concept of cost segregation and doing 1031 exchanges, it's amazing how fast you can scale. So instead of paying the government all those tax dollars, you can actually go put it to use, because that's what tax code is actually used for, is to help go create opportunities where the government wants you to go spend money. And so when you understand that, and then you go use it to your advantage, you can actually go scale faster. So when I hit that number, that's when, last year, December 31st, 2021, that was the year that I said, okay, I could walk away from everything. I don't need to work. I don't need anything. And I'm going to be able to go on these mission trips. And that's where Monica Reynolds fits in, and where she coached me to say, you're thinking too small. So here comes another coach in my life that says, you're thinking too small. And rather than you going on these mission trips, you can only impact so many. Why don't you just go make enough money and go buy enough doors such that you can go create an entire army that goes out and helps kids? Because what you can do is so little to, if you just actually used your head. And she kicked me, right? She's like, head, and get smarter about it, you can actually make a bigger impact. So at that moment is when I actually went and created a plan and said, okay, it's no longer 100 doors. I need to get to 1,000 doors so that I can actually go impact 100,000 kids. Because 1,000 doors gets me to enough passive income to fund all of those kids going through school.
That's awesome. So how does it work? Where are you creating, are you behind the schools, or do they create the foundation of the schools and they tell you what they need to fund that?
So initially I started with helping other nonprofits and just funding them. Now I have my own nonprofit started because I don't want to just go fund others, because that doesn't scale. So what I'm working on now is actually building out a platform where I can actually go and either stand up schools, or we're going to be able to take everything through a digital method to actually go and, almost like an iPad with the entire classroom modules right on an iPad that's given to every student.
Oh, that's awesome. Sajag, what's the name of your organization?
CEO Kids Foundation.
And can people go on if they want to? A lot of our organizations, market centers have initiatives that they run, or things that they want to do for Red Day that are similar to this. Oh, good. So you're putting it in the chat.
I'll put it in there. So I don't have the full-blown website done yet. It's coming. It's still in the works.
Yeah.
The name of it.
See, and that means something to you. It means something to the kids that you're helping. It means something to the community that is around those kids. You're changing more lives than just those 1,000 kids. It's a multiplier, right? And that is what drives you. So I laugh when I see how competitive you are on something like Peloton, and then I go and see like how that translates to something that's so much bigger than all of us combined. So when you set out to do something, you don't mess around. But it's not because you're like, you're driven for something that's bigger than yourself. And that's what I want everyone on this call to get across themselves, for themselves. Everything, these people are all servant leaders, right? They serve others every day. And yet I still think that they don't realize that we can do bigger things if we think differently and we think bigger.
Yeah. You didn't ask me the question, why CEO Kids?
Oh yeah, no, I didn't. Go ahead.
So I'm going to share that. So CEO, not the terms that we think of CEO, it stands for creating educational opportunities for kids.
That was very good. I would have never thought that. So creating educational opportunities for kids. And so how many doors are you up to now? 104 in 3.5 years?
No, we're at 139.
Nice.
And I'm actually in the process of selling one of those that I had bought already, because The cash flow from it, what it would take me for 10 years to go to create the same amount of cash flow I'm going to do in one transaction. So then I can go scale faster. So literally I'm going to sell this and probably go buy 100 or 200 doors with the money from it.
And I want everybody on the call to hear there's no reason that you guys can't do the same thing or similar for your own reasons of what Sajag's doing. We're in the correct absolute environment and industry to have so many opportunities available to you as the leader, as well as the opportunities that there for the agents. It's all around us. So wealth building does not just apply to our agents, it applies to us as well. And it doesn't hurt that we have our real estate license in place too. So I want to ask you, Sajag, as we start to wrap up the call and get questions, what can all the wonderful things that you told our MCAs and operational leaders today, what else can you tell them going into the fourth quarter? What should we be focused on, and how can we help?
Yeah, before I answer that, let me give you the trick real quick to scaling. Start small and then double it every time. What I mean by that is I went from a single family to buying a duplex to a fourplex to an eightplex to a 16 to a 32. Go play that game and you can get there a lot faster. By the way, if any one of you have the young adult kids that are looking to get into their first home, have them go buy a duplex, and you're going to help them create massive wealth, because one side will pay their entire mortgage and they're having someone build equity for them at no cost. So now to go to your question about the fourth quarter, what do we need to be focused in on going into the fourth quarter? Here's what I'm going to challenge everyone. We have to get out of the traditional brokerage mindset. We have to reinvent ourselves. You guys can make it happen. And if we don't think differently, there's only one place to go. Remember, it's harder to remain number one than it is to go chase number one. So I don't see us as number one. I see us as number two, and we're chasing to be number one again. The question is how do you guys need to show up in the fourth quarter to help the market center reinvent itself and lean into the KW initiatives such that by 2025, we come out number one. I know that's really weird because we've been so damn comfortable being number one. It's time to get uncomfortable. You don't like
I have to ask. So like reinvent, just for clarity for them, reinvent yourself. I see it as getting really good at what we are good at, because we're not even doing that. Yeah. Right? So to me, that's a reinvention.
It is a reinvention. And that's exactly what I'm talking about, is get back to the fundamentals.
The fundamentals. Yeah.
Right? Pouring into the agents, leading with education, training, and consulting. I mean, as an MCA, go give the gift of wealth to your agents. Start teaching it, start talking about it, because you'll be amazed at how the conversations evolve in the market center. Instead of all that coffee shop conversation and the negativity that may live in some of the market centers because people aren't producing, change the mindset. If every agent did one or two more transactions, what would that do to the market center's financials? What would that do to an agent's life? One or two more transactions. You
know, Jenny shared a video. I thought I knew every Kobe Bryant video there was, and I don't remember hearing this one. And in it, he speaks to most of the stuff he always spoke to, but it resonated. He said, you know what did I focus on? My mindset, but in my attitude and how I showed up was the fundamentals. And he said, I focused on the fundamentals. Was I fast? Yeah, but I wasn't the fastest. Did I have big hands? Yeah, but they weren't the largest. Could I jump high? Yeah, it was like around 40. Everybody else was at 46 because they were more naturally athletic, more naturally inclined to be basketball players than I was. The way I beat them is I continuously and relentlessly focused on the fundamentals, and that's how I beat them. And that's true for us as well.
Yeah.
Okay, everyone, if you have questions for Sajag, now's your time. We have 6 minutes left. How about in the chat, Tracy? I can't even talk today.
I have a question.
Hey, Morgan.
Hey, so forget roles, right? MCA, forget roles. As a leader in a market center, what's the one thing you would tell a leadership team to go out and do or implement in the fourth quarter right now?
Go interview an agent a day. And in 90 days, you're going to wake up being the smartest person in your market. Do what Gary does. Interview an agent a day. Find out what's their model. How do they succeed? Who are they? By the way, when we start doing this with our, not just our internal agents, but also the people in the market area, all of a sudden, you're going to start attracting more talent than you knew you could, because you're going to be talking a different language. And when I mean you, it's the entire leadership team. It's one interview a day. Now imagine what happens when our entire company does that.
Well, someone else waiting to raise their hand. I rewatched the interview that Gary Keller when he validated your KPI and he was doing the CV process with you. And that's specifically what he said that we're not doing. He was like, we're not getting to know our people. We're not getting into relationships with them, and we're not knowing what makes them tick. Right? And like you said, if we did that with our own agents, just as practice, it's not even that. It's not. It could be practice to us to say we're doing it with our own agents to practice for agents on the outside. But really, what we're doing is we're showing our agents we care, and we're making them feel that they're in a place where they should be, where people care about them.
So have you guys been, I'm sure you guys are reading the news about what's happening at Compass. Yes. Okay. Did you see their latest article today? More layoffs coming. I'm just going to give this to you guys as a tip, because I love you guys and I want to make sure you guys make some money. Start calling Compass agents. I've had 3 teams in the last 2 weeks start calling Compass agents. They have multiple $100 million, $150 million, $240 million teams that are all ready to come over to KW. And you're going to start seeing these stories more and more because they are over it. They are previous KW agents that are like, I'm ready to come home. Or they started at Compass and they want to get back. They've been watching KW and they are the easiest recruiting conversations right now. All you have to do is call them up, ask them, talk to them, do a consultative conversation real quick. Watch how fast you get them. I literally had one of the teams, he made 2 dials. He set 2 appointments. $100 and $150 million team, 2 separate teams he set appointments with off the first 2 dials he did. And he texted me and he said, I can't believe this. You
Yep.
want to help your agents in your market center grow an expansion business? Go tell them to run this play. You want to help your team leader? Tell them to start calling.
One of my
And-
clients just answered, they
Yep.
brought back a platinum $30 million team from Compass.
Yeah, just imagine what happens to Keller Williams in the next 90 days if every one of our market centers just went and brought back $100 million team.
So Sajag, we've got a question that's really good. And maybe that is something that what you just said goes into this question. What advice would you give to get over the fear of giving up what is good so we can build something better?
Don't settle. At some point, you said it was okay to settle.
That's that comfort zone.
Here's the reality. And I share this with people all the time. We don't really know what good is, and we don't really know what better is, because we just haven't done enough of it, right? When I hear people say, well, I've got this great hire, I say, great, how many people do you talk to? 10. Okay, no, you don't have great. We don't know what great is. We just tell ourselves that we know what great is, or we don't know what good is. We just tell ourselves that I've got someone who's good. Be relentless. And here's the other thing that I share with people is, you know, and Maria started the call with this. I don't believe in titles. And there's a reason for it. Titles don't get you anywhere. Titles only serve your ego, and the last time I checked, ego doesn't really help. But here's what does. Forget about titles. Go build your team, lock arms, and run in the same direction and watch how much further you get. Because when you do that, you're going to really enjoy coming to work. You're going to really enjoy what you do because it won't even feel like work. You're not going to be stressed out. You're not going to be overwhelmed because you guys are all working together towards one common thing.
Thank you, Sajag. I mean, and I can't end the call any better than that. And I know you all are going to go back and watch this because there's so much good information that you shared with us today and that they needed to hear, we needed to hear, in helping our leaders, and how we not just get through the fourth quarter, because we don't want to just get through the fourth quarter. We want to build something. We care about what we do. We want to help others, and it's not about us. We never wanted it to be either, right? We just want to make things better for all of us.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Sajag.
My pleasure. Thank you
You
guys.
are amazing. Thank you so much. And anything you need from us, you let us know.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, everyone,
Bye.
for attending today. We appreciate each of you.
Thank you.